Hey everyone, my name is Mrs. Yakub and I'm going to be showing you a workshop that I normally do within the school. So we're just going to do our best here to try to get all the information to you through video. So if you want to open up the PowerPoint that your teacher attached, we can go along and you can follow through with each page, okay? So just to give you a little bit of a background about who I am, I'm a teaching assistant at John Fraser Secondary School, as well as me and my husband have owned our own business for the last 11 years, and I used to be a youth employment coach. So I've been able to see both sides of the employment world. I've been able to help youth prepare for resumes, as well as been on the other end where I have been helping to interview candidates, screen candidates, and help my husband with that procedure. And it's been a bit alarming to see what resumes do look like. So this is what inspired me to develop this program to show you guys how to do a proper resume. Okay, so I'm just going to go along. It's going to be a bit weird, but I'm going to go along. I printed out the workshop here, and then we'll go through each page. So there are different types of resumes. There's a chronological resume and a functional resume. The chronological resume is usually what people do, which is your job, what you've done, and you just kind of continue going on like that. But for youth, the best type of resume to do is actually a functional resume, which highlights your skills. So if you go to this page here, it says functional resume. A functional resume is used best for people who have employment gaps. So not just for teenagers, but even people who have gaps in between their jobs. It's good for people who are returning to a workforce, or who want to just focus on the different skills that they have in specific areas. Okay, so an example of a functional resume, if you go to the next page, it says John Smith. Okay, this is the type of resume that I'm going to show you guys how to do. So we have an objective, we have qualifications, and we have relevant skills and experience, education, and volunteer experience. So that's what the difference between a chronological resume and a functional resume is, that we're focusing on your skills rather than what you did in each job and kind of going down that way. So I'm going to show you guys the print screens. If you go to the next page, you can see print screens of each of the resumes that we have had when it comes to me and my husband screening candidates. So we actually see print screen examples of poor resumes. So if you notice, it's just very, very blank, and we've got 3 different examples. And again, these are actual live examples of resumes. These are, 23, 24-year-old people who are having resumes that look like that, versus the one that I just showed you, which is full and gives a lot of substance. So people really need to know how to sell and represent themselves better than this, right? So a chronological resume, which is the next one here, this is an example of what you typically do see. So if you work in a field, this is even an example a little bit of my resume where I worked in social work, you're going to have, the same types of jobs. I worked here, did this. I worked here, did this. If you're working in the food industry, you're going to have a whole bunch of different jobs working at Harvey's and Wendy's and A&W. That's okay. You won't need to use a functional resume format. But for you guys who are 15, 16 years old, just looking to get your first job, the functional resume is the best way to get it. So we'll start out from the beginning. So at the beginning, we just have your address and your email address, which seems simple enough, but there are a few things that we have to think about. We have to make sure that the phone number you're using is a phone number that is your cell phone number. If it's your parent's cell phone number, make sure that everybody that's answering that phone is professional, especially when it's a number that is unknown and that you don't know who it is. You also need to make sure that your email address is professional. We don't want, littlekitty@gmail.com or gangster21@hotmail.com. If you have something that's not appropriate, then make sure that you are using an email address that is appropriate. Also, I've noticed that sometimes youth do not check their email, especially over the summer when you're looking for a job. If you're going to be using your Peel email, make sure that it's something that you check regularly. Many employers are choosing to email rather than call. Again, also, if you have a voice message, make sure that you check that and make sure that it's professional with your name. Very simple. Hi, you've reached John. Leave your name, phone number, and a brief message, and I'll go back to you as soon as possible. That way the employer knows that they've reached you, and make sure that you check your messages. Okay? So the next one is our objective. So page looks like this. So our objective is where I see most mistakes. An objective is letting an employer know who, what are you looking for? A full-time job, a part-time job? Why do you want this job? And many people don't indicate whether they want a part-time or full-time job. When we work in a very fast-paced environment these days, we need to make sure that every single line that goes down in that resume is readable and answers the questions that they need. So in your objective, you want to be clear to say, I want to obtain a part-time position within your company to maybe enhance my customer service skills or my cooking skills, whatever you're trying to do with this job. But very important, indicate whether it's a part-time job, if it's a summer job, if it's a full-time job, and let them know right away, okay? The next thing is our skills, okay? So I gave you guys a handout that should be attached to the email that your teacher gave you. And this handout, looks like this. So, and it's an adaptive skills checklist. So it's just a few different skills. And this comments on your work ethic, who you are, not really the skills that you have, things like being reliable, punctual, well-organized, flexible, team player. These are skills that we are looking to see about what type of person you are, what type of worker we are. So if you could print out that sheet, and these are great resources for you to have not only now, but even when you're older, and just check off some of these boxes, which will help you with the next step. So the next step is qualifications. If you want to pause this and go fill out that sheet, this is what I normally do in the classroom. I give students an opportunity to check off what skills apply to them. When you're done, the next section is qualifications. So under qualifications, we're going to list a couple of those skills. I like to put them together, but most importantly, you don't want to have any more than 5 or 6 bullets here because you don't want to have 20 different things about your skills. You need room on your resume to talk about your work experience as well. So you can put things together like saying I'm loyal and committed, hardworking and organized with all tasks, works well in a team, excellent customer service skills. So take some of those adaptive skills that you just did on that checklist and add that to this section here. I also use this section often to say that you're fluent in different languages. So for example, we live in a very Middle Eastern community here in Mississauga. If you spoke an Arabic language, it would be beneficial to say that I'm fluent in Arabic as well as English. Or if you're fluent in Chinese or Punjabi, you can put that here. Okay, so that's the next section. So the next section here is going to be, So pre-screening candidates. So what I wanted to show you is if you look on your workshop, this shows you what we actually look like when we're looking on our phone and we're pre-screening candidates. Again, we work in a very fast-paced society these days. So employers are looking to sift through your resume as fast as possible. And in fact, you're lucky if they even actually read it. So basically here, we do screening questions where we're asking 3 different questions. We're asking how many years of customer service experience do you have? How many years of Microsoft Office do you have? And how many years of sales experience do you have? So this way, when we're doing this, instead of us reading the resume, if they don't answer those 3 questions the way that we want them to, we won't look at the resume, okay? So you'll find a lot of this stuff happening. There's also sometimes you're getting questions through emails before they choose to interview you. So your email etiquette is very important as well, okay? So that's a little bit about what it looks like. All right, so now this is the big section called transferable skills, okay? And this is where it gets a little tricky and it's hard. So I will try to explain this as much as possible. But transferable skills are basically this. If you want to get a job at Old Navy and you want to sell clothing and you want to be a cashier, but you're 15, 16 years old, you've never had any experience doing that. What they want you to do is they want you to greet the customers. They want you to let them know what the new sales are for the day, as well as they want you to collect cash and work on cash. So most teenagers say to me, "Oh, miss, I've never done that before. I've never had a job." And I say, well, that's what we need to look at, transferable skills. So what transferable skills are, for example, for that job. If you have ever ran a bake sale or a school fundraiser. So for example, if you were selling cupcakes for cancer, you're greeting all of the customers. You're describing what types of cupcakes that they can buy, whether it's vanilla, caramel, or chocolate. You're letting them know what the price is, as well as you are letting them, you're collecting the cash and you are giving them back change. You're being entrusted with that money and giving it to the Cancer Society through your school. And that is transferable skills, because both jobs you need to be greeting customers. Both jobs you are handling money and giving back change and being entrusted with funds. And both jobs you are greeting customers and explaining to them what the merchandise is that they're going to purchase. So that is what a transferable skill is. So it is tricky to do, but I've done some things to be able to help you guys on how to identify those skills. So there's another sheet that your teacher will add, and it looks like this. Now this sheet has a whole bunch of transferable skills on it. I would take a moment and pause it and circle which ones that you have. Could be interpersonal skills, caregiving skills, teaching skills, supervising skills, critical thinking skills. These are just a couple ideas to help you start getting an idea of what skills that you do have. I have also attached another resource where I went on your NOC codes. I don't know if you guys have done that yet. So Knox NOC 2016, if you Google that, has all the professional job description wording. And I have taken the liberty, and this is attached, of getting all the common teenage jobs that are out there with all the professional wording, whether it be you've done gardening, you've delivered newspapers, you're a tutor, you're a soccer coach. There's so many things that you've done within that and so many skills that you have that can demonstrate responsibility, leadership, maturity, different things like that, okay? So take a look at those resources that are attached to help you identify what some of your skills are. Now, when you are doing this, and you are trying to figure out what skills you have, you should put about, I would say about 3. So if you go to the next page, we're looking at a resume for Amber Hassan. And just to show you how we do this, Amber has a full resume, and she's been an event assistant, a water station, a course marshal, and a supervisor. These are all 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour a day volunteer jobs. They're nothing's paid for, but you can pull so much transferable skills from that. So what we chose to see is we took all of these things that she did, and we wrote down all the different things she did, and we looked for a pattern. And the patterns that we saw is that she's demonstrated a lot of customer service, a lot of responsibility, and a lot of organization. Now, when you're doing each skill, we're not going to look at, well, she was an event assistant and she did this. She was a water assistant and she did this. She was a supervisor and she did this. We are collectively looking at all of the ways through that volunteer work that she has demonstrated that she has customer service skills or that she is responsible. For example, under customer service, we have directed customers to designated activities within the facility. That would be directing people at kind of just like a carnival where to go. Greeted and welcomed customers in a friendly manner to the event. So greeting customers at she was helping out with a 5K run. So she was greeting all the runners that came in. Again, these are different things that she's done, but she's showing that she can do customer service because she's greeted customers. She's also collected cash and debit transactions for an event, and she has greeted runners in a marathon and gave them water. So out of all of the different volunteer jobs she's had, she's got 4 bullet points that show that 4 bullet points of transferable skills that show that she can actually do a customer service job. Okay, and you can take a look down at responsibility and organize on your own, and you will notice that it has a mixture of the different things that she would have done in all those jobs. Okay, so a great resource again, which is the next page, is the NOC codes. But most of the jobs you guys have, I have on that attached document with all the professional wording. You just need to change it and tailor it to the job that you've done, and you can put it on your resume. Okay, so the next section is education. So for education, what's very important is we just want to talk about obtaining our OSSD, which is our diploma, John Fraser Secondary School, Mississauga, Ontario, and the year you started to present. Very important is if you've been to 5 different schools, you don't need to say that. You don't need your elementary school on there. Just the current year, the year that you started at Fraser and to present is good enough. Okay. For your experience. So if you don't have the work experience, you can use words like relevant experience or volunteer experience. The way that the resume is set up is it's right down at the bottom. So you've already kind of proved how you can do the job before they actually realize that it's volunteer work, which is great. It sells a lot of people and gets them their interviews. But when you're doing it, you have to make sure you do it from the last job that you did to early. So I think it's called reverse chronological order. So you're not going to have, 2017, 2019, 2016. It has to be 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016. Okay. You write the position if you had a position. If not, you can just write volunteer. You write the name of the company and the city. Okay. If it's volunteer work that you've only done an hour or a day or a week, just maybe write something like summer 2017 or fall 2019. If it's something that you've done for a few months, then I would write the timeline from October to December or whatnot. Okay. Make sure that when you are writing all this stuff, if you can see there, all the margins are lined up and you're making sure that your fonts are all the same and it looks clean and nice. Okay. Your next section is references. So I don't think you need references for careers, but I will let you know what you have to do. So for references, at the bottom of your resume, it says, and I'm sending you guys a template for it, it says references available upon request. And basically, you do not put your references on your resume. References are on a separate piece of paper that you give to when you are asked. On the reference page, you need to have 3 people that can comment on your work ethic. It cannot be a family member or a friend. It has to be someone. It can be a teacher. A lot of high school students use teachers. It can be someone who you volunteered with or someone that you've worked with, but it cannot be someone that you know. You get their name, their position, and either their email address and their phone number. And you put that on a separate piece of paper. Okay? All right, I'm going to go over a few do's and don'ts, and then I have a resume with mistakes on it that I want you guys to take a look at and see if you can circle what is wrong and what is right with it. So a couple do's for resumes. We want to make sure that we're using a functional resume. We want to make sure that we have no more than 5 to 6 qualifications. We want to make sure that your resume is also only 2 pages long max. Even professional adults are only allowed to use 2 pages. So you have to play around with your spacing, your fonts, and your formatting to make sure that it fits 2 pages. At your age, unless you've done, 100 hours of volunteer work, you really should only have 1 page. So work really hard to condense it to that. Okay? Make sure that your resume is on a nice, clean white paper. And then make sure that everything is consistent. So if you're going to write September, write October. Don't write Sept and then October and then DEC for December. Make sure it all looks, these things seem silly, but they all make it look nice and flow good. Okay? Things for not doing on your resume. So for your don'ts is, and you can go over all of them. I'm not going to go through all of them. But don't use I, me, or mine. You're speaking in third person. So you want to say threw out the garbage, not I threw out the garbage. Okay? Do not be dishonest. I have taught you how to take whatever experience you have and turn it into transferable skills. If you have absolutely no volunteer experience, you can comment on who you are as a student and break that down into skills. There's never a need to lie. Okay? What else did I say here? Make sure that you're using only abbreviations that everybody understands. Like OSSD, everyone knows stands for your diploma. Don't use jargon or words. If you're using a specific database system, don't use that word in your resume because no one will know what that means unless they work for that company. For an example, if I talk to my friends about academic and applied students, they don't know what I'm talking about because only people in the board will understand that. Okay? And then for discrimination, we don't want to put your grade, your political preference, university, date of birth, marital status, all those things you need to leave out. This is changing, however, as a lot of employers are actually asking for an optional Instagram account or Facebook or LinkedIn, and they are able to see a picture of you and get a little bit more into your lives. And employers do this. My husband does do that. He does do Facebook checks and Instagram checks on potential candidates. So as you've been hearing for years, make sure what you post is good for your pastor, is good for your aunt, is good for your employer, is good for the police. Make sure that it's appropriate because it could bite you in the butt later if you don't. Okay? All right. So now is the resume with mistakes. Okay. It is on the workshop. I usually give this as a sheet, but I don't think we have this as an attachment for you guys. So if you just take a look at it, just test yourself, take 2 minutes and see if you can see what's wrong with this resume. Okay. The errors are actually on the workshop. Okay. All right. So next, we're going to go into saving your document. So I love Word, but Word is going away and a lot of people are using Google Docs, right? So Google Docs and Word do not talk to each other, which means whatever way you format your, if you write your resume in Google Docs and it gets opened up by an employer on Word, it's going to look like that. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't have the patience to read that. So it's just a swipe and next. So make sure that you are saving it properly. This is how to save, or you have to save it to a PDF. So have one workable Word or Google Docs document that you can always update and change. And then you need to save it as a PDF on Word. Okay, and to do that, you're basically just clicking Save As. You scroll down to PDF and you just save it. Okay, for Google Docs, it's a little bit more of a step. You've got to go to Open With and then Save As, and then you do it as a PDF. Okay, so that is for the resume. And I will quickly go over the cover letter with you. So we're here. The cover letter is basically the essay of your resume. So make sure you do your resume first and then your cover letter. So when you're doing your cover letter, which looks like this is a breakdown, by the way, of everything I'm about to say, so you can go back and look at it if you need help. Okay? Cover letter is the last page, so it looks like that. Very similar, you have your address, okay? But you're going to put a date of when you're sending this letter out, and you're actually going to get the address of the place that you're applying for. So if you're going to apply at Indigo at Erin Mills Town Center, you're going to get that address. Next, there's regarding here, and you're going to say regarding, let's say, a customer service position at Indigo. All right, so we'll start out the letter. It's only 4 simple paragraphs. So this person here is applying for a customer service position. So in the beginning, you say, Dear Human Resources, or if you really want to go up a notch, you can actually call and find out who's hiring at the Indigo. And maybe it's Ann Williams, and you can write Dear Ann Williams. If not, Human Resources or Hiring Manager is acceptable as well. So for the first sentence, you want to basically just write, you're opening it up to say where you've heard about this position and what position you're applying for. So I'm writing in response to your advertisement in the April 18th Indeed posting for the customer service position. My resume is attached for your consideration. So that's just opening up and letting them know where they got, where you found their advertisement. The second part, you're going to talk about your transferable skills. And since you've already done your resume, that work is done. You just need to grab 2 or 3 lines out of that and let you show them why you can do that job. So it goes like this. My background is in sales and customer service, where I've worked as a sales associate at Sears and at Walmart. Both positions involved greeting customers and showing them where various products were within the stores, dealing with customer inquiries and complaints, and displaying merchandise according to my supervisor's discretion. I worked great with my team and was even promoted to supervisor after only a few short months. So here, she is showing that she has the skills, she has the experience, and she's done everything that they're looking for in that position. The third paragraph is now where we put our adaptive skills, which was this sheet right here, where we talked about our personal work ethic. So she says, in all my work, I have served customers reliably and have demonstrated exceptional customer service abilities, both in presenting products and following up on questions. I am a reliable and self-motivated staff member with the proven skills to succeed in this position. So again, she's showing that she's reliable and self-motivated. She talks a little bit about what type of person you're going to get. So we're opening it up to what job we want, what skills do I have, what type of worker am I going to get, and then we close it. I'm available for an interview at your convenience to discuss my suitability and the long-term commitment I'm prepared to give your company. Sincerely, and then 3 spaces, your name. And you do need to sign the cover letter. So there are scanning apps that you can use where you can just sign one and you can put it into your phone and always use it if you need to. Now, I will tell you that a cover letter is not exactly the standard for youth jobs. If you go to Wendy's or Walmart, they're not really looking for a cover letter. But if you want to stand out above 20 or 30 candidates, this is worth it. But a cover letter is standard for an adult job. Okay? So that is all for me. I hope that you guys are able to do this. I know it's a little weird that we're doing it online, but I hope I was able to clarify the workshop a little bit more. Thank you and good luck, and everybody stay safe.